A furniture maker in Portland spent 40 hours building a single bookshelf. Solid walnut, hand-joined corners, 3 coats of satin finish. Each one was a work of art. She charged $800 and barely broke even. Then a retired consultant sat down in her showroom and told her the most counterintuitive advice she had ever heard. Stop assembling the furniture. Ship it flat. Let the customer build it themselves. 8 months later, her revenue had tripled. Britta opened her furniture workshop 6 years ago in a converted warehouse off Division Street. She learned woodworking from her father, a cabinet maker in Gothenburg, and she brought his obsession with joinery across the Atlantic. Every bookshelf, every dining table, every chair was built by hand from raw lumber to finished product. But the beautiful furniture had an ugly secret. Each finished bookshelf took up 12 cubic feet in her warehouse. Raw lumber for the same shelf took up less than 3. Her workshop could hold 200 finished units, but she was building 400 a year and running out of space every month. Every delivery was a gamble. 2 workers loaded each piece onto a rented truck at $85 per stop. 15% of deliveries arrived with scratches or dents. Each return cost $120 to process. Britta was spending more on logistics than on the wood itself. One afternoon, a man walked through her door. His name was Otis. He had spent 30 years consulting for furniture companies across Scandinavia. He looked around her showroom with the careful eye of someone who had seen this problem 100 times before. Otis picked up a walnut shelf, turned it in his hands, and said, "This is extraordinary work. But your business model is broken. You are spending 40% of your revenue on delivery and assembly. The furniture is not the problem. The last mile is the problem." Britta was not convinced. "My customers pay for craftsmanship. They expect it to arrive ready to use." Otis smiled and said, "That is exactly what I told myself before I lost my first shop. The ones who are growing right now ship flat boxes, and their customers do not complain. Their customers brag about it. They post photos. They tell their friends. They feel like they built it." Britta did not sleep that night. She stared at her bestseller, the walnut bookshelf, and started sketching. She redesigned every joint so the whole thing could be taken apart and packed flat. 2 weeks later, she had a prototype that fit into a single box with an illustrated instruction booklet and 1 Allen wrench. The first month, she listed the flat-pack bookshelf online for $600, $200 less than her assembled version. It sold out in 2 weeks. Returns dropped from 15% to under 2%. And then customers started doing something Britta never expected. They posted photos of their built bookshelves online, tagging her shop, showing off like they had crafted it themselves. Within 3 months, Britta converted her entire product line to flat pack. She let go of her 3 assembly workers, people who had been with her since the beginning. She canceled the delivery truck contract. And she hired a graphic designer to create illustrated instruction manuals that made assembly feel like a craft project. By the 8th month, Britta's revenue had tripled. The same workshop, the same tools, the same woman. But instead of 200 finished pieces taking up every square foot, she had 900 flat-pack boxes stacked floor to ceiling, ready to ship anywhere in the country. Now let us break down exactly why Britta's revenue tripled. Start with assembly labor. She had 3 full-time workers at $28 an hour assembling furniture. That is $3,360 per week, or $175,000 a year. When she switched to flat pack, that number went to 0. The customer does the assembly for free. Next, look at the warehouse. A fully assembled walnut bookshelf takes up 12 cubic feet. The exact same bookshelf packed flat takes up 2.5 cubic feet. That means the same warehouse that held 200 finished units now holds 960 flat pack boxes. Same rent, same square footage, nearly 5 times the inventory. Then there is shipping. A fully assembled bookshelf needs a rented truck and 2 movers at $85 per delivery. A flat pack box ships through a standard carrier for $12. That is $73 saved on every single unit that goes out the door. Now look at returns. With assembled furniture, 15% of deliveries came back damaged. That is 60 units a year at $120 per return to process. $7,200 in pure loss. With flat pack, there is almost nothing to damage. The return rate dropped to under 3%. That saved Britta over $6,000 a year. But here's the number that surprised even Otis. Britta noticed that customers who built the bookshelf themselves valued it 63% more than customers who received it pre-assembled. They left better reviews. They recommended the shop to more friends, and 78% of them chose a custom stain upgrade at $45 extra. They were not just building furniture, they were building ownership. Add it all together. Assembly labor savings, $175,000. Shipping savings, $29,000. Return savings, over $6,000. Plus, the upsell revenue from custom stain options. Britta's net margin went from 5% to 22% on triple the volume. Same workshop, same woman, fewer people on the payroll. Britta is not the only one who figured this out. A Swedish company called IKEA has been doing this since 1956. They sell furniture that you assemble yourself in your living room. Today, IKEA sells over $45 billion worth of furniture a year. They are the largest furniture retailer on earth, and they have 0 assembly employees. IKEA's flat pack model saves over 50% on shipping volume compared to assembled furniture. Their warehouses hold nearly 5 times more products per square foot than a traditional furniture store. The math is the same math that saved Britta. Less space, less labor, less breakage, more volume, more margin, more customers. But it is not just furniture. Build-A-Bear does over $500 million a year by charging children to stuff their own teddy bear. The bear costs under $10 to manufacture. Customers pay $25 to $50 because they made it themselves. In the 1950s, Betty Crocker cake mix sales were dying because the mix was too easy. They removed the powdered egg and told customers to crack a fresh one in. Sales soared. Psychologists call this the IKEA effect. When people invest effort into building something, they value it significantly more. It works with furniture. It works with teddy bears. It works with cake. The effort does not subtract from the experience. The effort is the experience. The bookshelf did not lose its assembly. It gained an owner. Britta did not cut corners. She found what her customers actually wanted more than a finished product. The feeling of having built it themselves. Most businesses try to do everything for the customer. The smartest ones hand them the Allen wrench. If this changed how you think about business, follow the lost dollar. One deep dive every week.